Banking used to be all about big buildings with thick stone walls and hardened vaults to keep everybody's money safe. Well, today there's still some of that, but the biggest threats are likely to come in bits and bytes from anywhere in the world. Cyber attacks on the digital information that makes the entire global financial system run. So protecting all those systems and staying one step ahead of the bad guys is a big job at any financial institution. Big enough so that PNC Financial Services Group, which sponsors this program, created a dedicated organization to bolster cyber and information security. And they tapped Deborah to run it. She's a Chief Security Officer at PNC. And welcome. Good to have you here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, this is a big scope of responsibility in the bank. And it's not just that digital stuff, but it's also the more traditional part of bank security as well.
You're exactly right. So I have cybersecurity, fraud, and physical security under my remit.
Okay, why does it make sense to put all of that together in one group? Yeah,
the best example that I give is looking at the tradition relative to fraud detection. So if you think about how the firms used to detect fraud traditionally, there's been a long history of looking at your behavior analytics. So how do you shop? Where do you shop, right? So looking at your behaviors, and when you do something off of those normal behaviors, that triggers a fraud alert, and we'll be able to say, hey, you know what, this might be a fraudulent transaction. What do you think? Well, cybersecurity has looked at it more from what we call IT analytics. What device do you normally use? What IP address does that device come in on? And what we're able to do is now connect those analytics and be able to have a stronger correlation to be able to protect you against threats that are in the environment. So connecting those makes us much stronger and more nimble in our ability to protect our customers.
Makes sense. Break through those silos and try to pull that information. I know this is part of a big investment PNC has been making in security in general, cybersecurity in general. How is that showing up in terms of the way you interface with your customers?
So the investments have been significant. We created a new state-of-the-art data center. We've invested in our networks. We've created new communication and collaboration software for our employees. And it's definitely resulted in increased security, increased stability, and increased speed to market. And it's also really helped us attract, I think, the tech-savvy millennial and Gen Z workforce, which is going to help us sort of create the tools and the necessary programs that our customers can use to help protect themselves and compute with us in a very secure fashion. So huge investment, but it's definitely going to pay off in terms of security, stability, and speed for our customers.
Well, it's a good point. I mean, financial services nowadays is probably every bit as much an IT business as it is a money business. Right?
Very much so. And we're competing with the talent that might want to go to other tech firms. We have to attract that talent as well.
Yeah, well, it's important stuff. So big investment, a lot of expertise. You're finding some talent. That means you got it covered, or can you do it all by yourself?
We cannot do it all by ourselves. One of my taglines is sort of together building trust, and that first word is together. As a chief security officer, you can't go it alone. You need help from your employees. So we have a very extensive workforce education program, but we also need help from our customers. When we think about what a customer can do, this is one of the most common questions I get. Hey, I'm a customer. How can I help protect myself? I look at things in a couple of dimensions, and the first one's incredibly easy. It's email. It's really knowing and being able to identify that fish that comes in, that phishing email.
It's an email that might look like something else, might look completely legitimate, but they're after your personal information. Right?
And there's signatures that you can use. We have those tips out on our website that will tell you different ways to detect a phish. There's misspellings. It says "Dear valued customer" versus something personalized. So when you think it's a phish, for us, you can send it to abuse@pnc.com, and we will tell you. We'll respond back and let you know whether it's a phish or not. And if it is, also, we'll be able to actually block that phish attempt for other customers. So you're doing not only yourself a favor, but you're protecting other customers. The other thing that I strongly suggest is not to click on a link. If you get an email with a link, don't click on it.
Even if it looks legitimate, even if it does. It's the company you always do business with.
You're right. What I do is I actually go out out and I'll log in natively. So if it's from PNC, I'll go to www.pnc.com and I'll log in. I'll never click on that link because they can direct you to sites that look shockingly like our webpage.
Wow.
And they're called watering holes for a variety of reasons. But they can direct you there. So I always make sure that I don't click on that link. I make sure that I go out and sort of natively log in. The other thing that I would suggest for people is signing up for alerts. Every time I swipe my credit card at a merchant, I get a text on my phone that says, you swiped, you charged for this merchant for this amount, and at a restaurant it tells me whether or not a tip has been applied, right? So every single time I use my credit card, I get a text. So if I get a text and I'm not using my credit card, something's wrong, and I can intercede real quick when I get that alert. I can also do it for my checking account, I can do it for my savings account, I can do it for a number of products, get those alerts. So definitely sign up for alerts. I think that's a huge opportunity for the general public. The last thing that I would mention relative to things that people can do is when your app says that it's going to upgrade, allow it to. A lot of those application developer companies, they are trying to protect you from known vulnerabilities. So when you say, no, I don't need that upgrade, you're actually leaving yourself vulnerable to things that could be attacked on your either mobile device and or your PC. And a lot of what I've just described is out on our privacy and security website. So if you go under www.pnc.com/security, you will see a number of tips and tricks relative to protecting yourself against cyber and fraud attempts. So
that's good advice. If we want to live in a digital world, we all have to play our part to make sure that it works successfully. Yeah. Deborah Guild from PNC, thank you so much. We'll have to have you back. I'm sure it's changing every day, every week. So we'll have you back and get an update. Thanks so much.
My pleasure.
Yeah. When we return, leadership and literacy, a new public-private partnership that's making a difference for kids in our region. Stay with us.